And investing platform eTORO announced today that it's teaming up with Twitter. The partnership will allow users to see live charts when searching Twitter cash tags and have the option to click through and invest.
Twitter teaming up with eTORO to let users
Halo sahabat Pioneer Dunia, jumpa lagi, salam sehat sejahtera. Kali ini kita masih bahas informasi PI Network. Semakin banyak perusahaan besar melirik jaringan PI. Seperti kita ketahui melalui pemberitaan di sebuah televisi Amerika. Amazon adalah salah satu sponsor dari PI Network. Perusahaan Tesla akhir-akhir ini diberitakan juga ketertarikannya pada teknologi PI Network yang dikenal ramah lingkungan. Berita lainnya adalah Twitter mengumumkan telah bekerja sama dengan eTORO, perusahaan investasi multi-aset kelas dunia di Amerika Serikat. Dan ternyata PI Network juga telah lama bersama eTORO. Dan bahkan salah satu pendiri PI Network yaitu Vincent Mike Philip pernah diwawancaranya pada sebuah channel TV. Hal menarik bukan? Berita lainnya adalah Wall Street mulai khawatir dan memikirkan teknologi blockchain. Serta dunia para pebisnis, para investor, dan perusahaan-perusahaan mengalami peningkatan permintaan akan aset digital. Sehingga dampaknya memaksa lembaga keuangan mau tidak mau mulai mengkaji memikirkan untuk mengadopsi aset digital dan perlunya penggunaan teknologi blockchain tersebut untuk dapat bersaing ke depannya.
For better or for worse, right? And so when I first, stumbled into Bitcoin and started to see kind of these communities growing up around Bitcoin and Ethereum, these other cryptocurrencies, I said, hey, there's a really powerful economic tool that we may be able to potentially leverage to address some of the social ills that we have in the world. So growing wealth inequality, you have people that are increasingly feeling left behind by the economy and how it works. And so I founded a group at Stanford called the Stanford Blockchain Collective, which was about 750 Stanford students that were studying blockchain and cryptocurrencies and trying to understand what the real impact could be for everyday people. And after that, basically teamed up with 2 PhDs from Stanford to bring cryptocurrency to the masses and everyday people, and that was the beginning of PI.
Okay, so, I'm definitely with you. Mass adoption is the key. If we don't get a lot of people using this stuff, we're not doing anything here. So, but why PI? Why a project? And what's different about PI? What do you?
Absolutely. So my teammates and I, we were basically asking this question of like, okay, what would it really take for us to bring cryptocurrencies to the masses? And we did a kind of a design-inspired, user-centric, human-centric design process to understand what were the real obstacles or barriers to cryptocurrency adoption, and how could you actually solve those? And what we found is that first of all, it was just too damn hard to use, right? It's too hard to access for everyday people. And then the second thing is that the value proposition wasn't incredibly clear for people. They weren't sure exactly what cryptocurrency was or why it would make a difference for them outside of the folks that were, making money really in more speculative use cases. So trading and all that type of stuff.
Right.
And so we came to the conclusion that we really needed to be able to build a cryptocurrency from the ground up that was more accessible and that would give people access to what we see as kind of the killer app for blockchain, which is mining. Being able to basically contribute and participate in securing a distributed ledger and earning cryptocurrency rewards for that. And so PI basically reimagines Bitcoin from the ground up in a way that is much more user-friendly, much easier for people to use, much more fun, and much more accessible.
Okay. Now, you said, you referenced Bitcoin there. Is this, so is PI, programmatically, are we talking about a project that's built on top of Bitcoin, or are we talking about a layer 1 blockchain? Is this a layer 2 to Ethereum? Tell me
absolutely.
what we're talking about here.
So we actually, it is a layer 1 solution. It's actually something that we actually want to eventually be full stack.
Yeah.
And the reason that we made that choice is because we believe that we actually needed to make blockchain and this cryptocurrency accessible literally from the protocol layer all the way up. We actually needed to make mining the currency and the consensus algorithm something that was also intuitive and accessible to people. And listen, I'm a huge fan of Bitcoin, and I'm very happy for proof of work and the fact that it's expensive, and that's what basically keeps me sleeping at night, right? Knowing that my Bitcoin will be secure. And at the same time, we have to acknowledge that the everyday person isn't going to, pick up a 20-page manual and learn how to set up a server in their home to mine Bitcoin, right? If they want to have a good shot at it. And so Pi uses a completely different consensus algorithm that essentially allows everyday people to actually participate in the process of securing the currency and to mine the currency from the convenience of a mobile phone application.
Okay, so you guys have built a new blockchain.
Yes, we're in the process of building it.
Okay,
yes.
So layer 1 protocol. And, so is it, if you're able to mine from your cell phone, now, when Bitcoin was launched,
yeah,
I'm sure you could have mined from your cell phone if mobile development would have been where it was then that it is today.
Right.
So, when are you taking a proof of work approach, or what is your consensus approach?
Yeah, exactly. So actually, the first thing I'll say is that a lot of people actually don't realize that in the early days of Bitcoin, you could essentially mine the currency for the cost of computing power, right? So you could fire up just a PC, or even back then potentially a mobile phone, and you would have been able to earn upwards of 10 Bitcoin every or 50 Bitcoin, 50 Bitcoin every 10 minutes, right? So it's like that would have been a nice situation.
You're earning more than 10 right now.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
A few more months.
Yeah, until I think it's May 2020, right? So for Pi, what we did is we had to take a step back from proof of work because it's fundamentally not very easy for people. Nobody wants to burn their battery, basically like mining cryptocurrency.
Just got a new phone yesterday.
Okay, yeah, right. Exactly.
Too much YouTube.
Yeah,
too much YouTube.
Yeah, sure, right. And so basically what we're doing is we're taking the Stellar consensus protocol.
Okay.
And part of this, by the way, is we actually did a survey of different consensus protocols, right, to understand what would be the most user-friendly, what would be the most easy to use and access. And Stellar kind of rose to the top. And the way that Stellar works, it's based on something called federated Byzantine agreements. Mm-hmm. And you can think of this as a progressive voting mechanism, where people go into the Stellar network, you can spin up a node, and then you identify other nodes in the network, and you say, I will only agree to transactions that these 3 people agree to. And essentially, as each node does that, it kind of aggregates into what you might think of as almost like a global trust graph of sorts, right? And so the upside of this then is that cryptocurrency mining is not about burning a lot of energy to prove your trustworthiness. It's based more on leveraging your existing social connections and providing information about who in the world you can and can't trust. And that's how we're enabling people to mine the currency from mobile devices.
So in that sense, so with Pi, you would open up the app, because we're talking about mobile. You spin up a node and you choose who you want to trust in the node, the Stellar federated consensus. Mm-hmm. And the status of sharing the information of who you trust is the mining process?
Exactly.
Okay.
Right.
That way that information can be distributed across the network and other people can build their federated trust systems kind of based off that available
Exactly.
data.
And then the plan is also to eventually have PC nodes as well, right? Sure. Which will be responsible for validating transactions. And the idea there is that the graph that gets built by all these mobile phone users is the key input that allows the PC nodes then to understand who can and can't be trusted, who can and can't, whose transactions should and shouldn't be validated.
Sure. Great, man.
Yeah.
Where can people find out more about Pi?
Just go to our landing page. It's minepi.com.
Minepi.
Minepi.com. Very simple. That's PI, as in the Greek letter pi. And it's been a really exciting run, actually. So we came out of stealth, you could say, on March 14th. So Pi Day, 3/14 of 2019. And basically since May, we've now added over 1 million people to the platform.
Cool.
So when it comes to this concept of like mass adoption and cryptocurrency, Pi is actually well on its way to being one of the world's most widely distributed and used cryptocurrencies. So it's been
related classes at the university. He's a former CTO of StartX, a startup accelerator program based on the Stanford University campus, which is sponsored by leading global companies such as Amazon. The Pi Network homepage introductory passage below reveals how Dr. Kokalis placed all of his prospects on Pi Network to create a lifelong masterpiece for his beloved wife and son. Pi Network currently has a wide range when it comes to work as a payment system. As soon as Pi Network is adopted as a global basic payment system, it will become recognized as a currency that can be used around the world. Get one Pi Network as soon as you sign up. 11. Just press the mining.
While Tesla is a US company involved in car manufacturing and energy company, best known for its electric cars. The company is also known for specializing in solar panels and lithium-ion battery energy storage. Overall benefits of this recognition and acceptance of Pi Network by Amazon and Tesla. The recent recognition and acceptance of Pi Network by Amazon and Tesla is a huge step forward for cryptocurrency. This is a major milestone for the entire Pi Network community, as it will open up a world of possibilities for cryptocurrency. The benefits of this recognition and acceptance are numerous, and it is sure to bring about a new era of growth and innovation for the network. First and foremost, a significantly wider user base will be accessible to the network as a result of Pi's acceptance and acknowledgement by Tesla and Amazon. This will increase Pi's usefulness by giving more businesses the choice to accept it as a payment method. Moreover, Pi will be used and adopted more widely, which will boost market liquidity and benefit both users and investors. More innovation on the network will result from Amazon and Tesla's acceptance of the Raspberry Pi. Developers will be increasingly motivated to add new services and applications to the network as more users and merchants join. The community as a whole will gain from the additional features and services that result from this. In addition, additional research and development will result from Pi's greater usage and adoption, which will improve the network even more. In conclusion, the adoption of Pi by Tesla and Amazon represents a significant turning point for the whole Pi network community. However, since this sounds like there's no official announcement from the Pi core team, so this shouldn't be trusted. The cryptocurrency will have a wider range of opportunities as a result of this acknowledgement, which will boost usage, adoption, liquidity, and innovation. All of these advantages will undoubtedly usher in a new period of development and innovation for the network, and everyone in the community should be thrilled about it.
A very, very exciting few months, and we're just getting started. So we're
Cool, awesome. Man.
Yeah.
What do you think's going on with cryptocurrency right now? You know, we've had a pretty good year. So,
yeah.
Where do you think we're headed?
I mean, I think that we're in the kind of, maturation phase, I think, of cryptocurrency. Obviously, the 2016, 2017 bull market and bubble, as some would call it, was a very exuberant time, you should say, in the crypto space, right? Good time for traders, actually.
Good time for traders.
Right? I think we're now kind of getting to a place where the rubber starts to, hit the road, right? And this is when the true believers are really going to kind of emerge and are going to be doing that really hard work to start to bring real utility to everyday people with this technology. And I think that that's the fundamental challenge. I'm very excited about the long-term prognosis for cryptocurrency and blockchains. I think that we need this technology more now than we ever have before. And at the same time, I'm being realistic about the challenges of really demonstrating the power of this technology to everyday people. I think that the holy grail is basically what I think we're trying to tackle with Pi Network, which is true mainstream mass adoption and true utility, which is why people...
Themes were talks about inflation and how that weighs on the economic outlook. They were also talking about the war in Ukraine and that weighing on deal-making activities. So amid all of that, something that got lost is that a lot of these big names on Wall Street were name-dropping blockchain technology in their earnings results, which is very unusual for these big financial institutions who not long ago would shudder at the idea of crypto or blockchain. The CEOs of BlackRock, Goldman Sachs, and JP Morgan all mentioned that they were scaling up plans around digital assets. So you had Goldman Sachs CEO David Solomon mentioning during a call last week that they expect that crypto and blockchain will cause significant disruption in the way that money moves around the world, which is a big, bold statement there on crypto from Goldman. BlackRock's Larry Fink who once called Bitcoin a money laundering scheme, is also changing his tone. He said that BlackRock is studying digital assets and their associated ecosystem, including crypto assets. And Jamie Dimon, during JP Morgan's earnings call, briefly said that the bank was building out some blockchain type things without getting into more detail on that. But it'll be interesting to see what they do. We're going to hear more details in their investor day next month.
Do we know, sort of, as you said, for a long time, the banks had a different tone on this. Do we know what changed to make them, create this sudden interest for them in blockchain?
Well, it's still very much in the early stages for institutional investors, but one thing that they kept bringing up was client demand. So it's kind of forcing their hand on this, and they have no choice but to foray into digital assets and capitalize on some of those opportunities that are out there. So interesting to see what they'll do in the coming months and years with blockchain.
Alexandra Simonova, good to see you. Good to see you in person.
Good to see
or
you
as they say
guys
in
as
real
well.
life, IR.
Apa yang akan terjadi di Indonesia? Akan ada banyak platform terdesentralisasi tumbuh di semua sektor. Akan ada lebih dari 100 juta penduduk Indonesia tidak menggunakan rekening bank untuk transaksi bisnis. Platform digital currency dan cryptocurrency akan mendominasi berbagai layanan transaksi.
Di masa depan, aset digital dapat melampaui aset lembaga perbankan. Saat ini, aset digital terus mengalami peningkatan yang signifikan di dunia. Orang mulai bahas kripto dan blockchain, yang dulunya skeptis. Jadi ini adalah suatu informasi yang berguna. Terkadang kita tidak pernah menyadarinya. Suatu yang awalnya gratis dapat membuat kita menjadi bebas financial. Namun perlu digarisbawahi, ini tentu memerlukan proses waktu. Di sini PI Network yang dimaksud adalah tanpa menggunakan modal. Namun berpeluang berjaya ke depan. Sekian, terima kasih, salam pioneer berjaya.